By early 1776, American colonists had already fought British regulars in several engagements in Massachusetts. All of the royally appointed colonial governors had either fled or joined the American side, all that is except one. The governor of New Jersey, William Franklin, had remained at his post and was placed under house arrest in January 1776 to prevent him from supporting the British war effort. As members of the Continental Congress assembled in Philadelphia, they discussed how to resolve an awkward situation. The governor was the son of perhaps the most venerated figure in the colonies, Benjamin Franklin, publisher, inventor, diplomat, and a leader of the colonial independence movement. But Franklin himself, deeply angered by what he saw as William's betrayal, remained silent. The estrangement of the Franklins represented a remarkable change in a once close relationship. William was the illegitimate son of Ben Franklin and had been raised by him and his wife Deborah. He was educated by private tutor and introduced by his father to the leading figures of the day. During the French and Indian War, William, then in his mid-20s, accompanied his father to Maryland in 1755 to meet with General Edward Braddock, Commander-in-Chief of the British Army in America. Braddock needed help securing supplies from farmers in western Pennsylvania, since a violent disagreement between the governor and the legislature about how to raise money had prevented any support being offered. The Franklins agreed to help. After Ben was named Deputy Postmaster of America in 1753, he appointed William Postmaster of Pennsylvania. So close were the two men that when the Pennsylvania Assembly sent Franklin to England in 1757 to represent it in a dispute with the proprietors of the colony, William accompanied him. The younger man soon became entrenched in the English way of life, even studying law at the inns at court. With his father's help, he was appointed the royal governor of New Jersey in 1762. Notes historian and Franklin biographer Thomas Fleming, quote, Ben Franklin probably paid as much as £2,000 in favors to various royal officials to secure the governorship for his son. Newly married, William settled with his wife first in Burlington and later in a mansion in Perth Amboy. Commenting on his son's appointment, his father noted, quote, I have no doubt but that he will make as good a governor as husband, for he has good principles and good dispositions. William's tenure proceeded smoothly, but a rift would develop between father and son as time went on. After Benjamin Franklin successfully testified before the House of Commons in January 1766 to get Parliament to repeal the Stamp Act, quote, he was considered a representative of all the colonies, Fleming says, but in the course of various debates, he became increasingly disenchanted with Parliament, which, quote, contemptuously accused the Americans of every dishonesty and cowardice, wrote Carl Van Doren in his 1938 biography, Benjamin Franklin. Unable to see any way to repair the growing rift between England and America, the elder Franklin sailed for home on March 20, 1775, firmly believing that colonial independence was the only remaining option. Upon landing at Philadelphia on May 5th, he learned of the bloodshed at Lexington and Concord just a few weeks earlier. Traveling to Perth Amboy, he requested a meeting with his son and urged him to resign his position as governor. William refused. From this point forward, father and son were on opposing sides. Indeed, notes Fleming, William actively worked to undermine the rebels' efforts and his father's to achieve independence. In a letter to Colonial Secretary William Legge, who handled communications between the colonies and Great Britain, the younger Franklin wrote, quote, no attachment or connection shall ever make me swerve from the duty of my station. William was put under house arrest at the Perth Amboy Mansion on January 8, 1776. New Jersey authorities had learned that he had attempted to send information to Legge detailing rebel activities in the colony. In mid-June, William was formally arrested after he defied the Continental Congress by trying to reconvene the Loyalist New Jersey Assembly. Congress had ordered all the colonies to form new revolutionary governments. On July 4, 1776, just as his father and the Continental Congress were approving the final draft of the Declaration of Independence, William was moved to a new location in Connecticut. He was given some freedom on the promise that he would cease his attempts to undermine the revolution. However, William seems to have been almost fanatically determined to pursue his goals. Yet again, he attempted to aid the Loyalists. This time, the American authorities had had enough. He was sent to a harsh Connecticut prison and placed in solitary confinement. In May 1777, William would petition General George Washington, Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, to see his gravely ill wife. Washington, out of respect for Benjamin Franklin, asked Congress to release him, saying, quote, "Humanity and generosity plead powerfully in favor of his application." Congress refused, and his father, then in France and aware of his son's continuing pro-loyalist activities, kept a stony silence. Quote, "There were a lot of people who expected Benjamin Franklin to intervene and to get him out of jail. Benjamin absolutely refused," says Sheila Skemp, author and professor of American history at the University of Mississippi. The elder Franklin did, however, maintain ties with William's son Temple, who accompanied him to the French court. William Franklin was released in October 1778 as part of a prisoner exchange and took refuge in British-controlled New York. Undaunted by his incarceration, he organized a group of loyalists who ambushed rebels and kidnapped American soldiers to gain better treatment for captured loyalists. But on July 12, 1782, William went further when he authorized the hanging of Captain Joshua Huddy, who commanded a New Jersey Patriot militia unit in retaliation for a British soldier's death. A furious George Washington ordered the person responsible delivered to him. William fled the colonies and went to England. In 1784, a year after Ben had helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris, officially ending the war, William rather optimistically wrote to his father to, quote, "endeavor to revive that affectionate intercourse and connection which till the commencement of the late troubles had been the pride and happiness of my life." Benjamin Franklin did reply, Fleming says, but he, quote, couldn't let go of his rage at William. His letter expressed some regret over the estrangement, but in the end it said, quote, "there are natural duties which precede political ones." In August 1785, the two men had a final brief meeting in Southampton, England, so William could sign some papers resolving a debt to his father. Benjamin Franklin wrote his son almost completely out of his will, stating, quote, "the part he acted against me in the late war will account for my leaving him no more of an estate he endeavored to deprive me of."